Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Ben Olson, that's Nathan Fox, and together we're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly long-form podcast, Thinking LSAT. Today, we have an email from Frank. My name is Frank. I'm early on in my LSAT journey.
Why do people do that? That's so weird. We had a personal statement just the other day on Thinking LSAT where it started with "my name is whatever," and it's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, when you send an email, we know who you are, and you signed out with your name.
Yeah.
I am early on in my LSAT journey. Before I discovered the Demon and your podcast, I foolishly registered for the October LSAT. I have only been studying for a couple of weeks and intend to apply for law school in September of 2022. Okay, great. So a year from now. Nice. My first practice test without any study was 142. Frowny face. Okay. So I'm not confident I will score well if I take the test in October. I've already lost the money at this point. My questions are as follows. By the way, just some initial reactions to that. 142 is a super common starting score. So although I agree with you that you may not be able to get where you need to get by October, in fact, that seems unlikely. There's nothing to worry about here. Like, you can succeed.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, probably not gonna make it to 165 or 170 by October.
Yeah, I agree.
But could make it to 165 or 170 by October.
Good.
And so, yeah, you're not in a terrible situation. I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't have registered for that test. You are out the $200 at this point. It's too late to get any kind of a refund or change. Probably by the time we read this, it's going to be too late to get any kind of a refund. Frank says, I've already lost the money at this point. So I think that's probably correct. But Frank, you are, you have the option to take it in October. And I would wait all the way up until like 2 days before the October test. And at that point, if you still feel like you're really not ready, then withdrawal is always an option. So anyway, there's some more bullet points here. We can help Frank make that decision. But this is like, here's what you do when there's 48 hours before the test. Here's how you make the decision. Anyway, go ahead.
Is there any advantage to taking a real test, though I'm clearly not ready?
No, there's not. Do not waste one of your attempts unless your practice test scores indicate that you're ready to take the official test.
Yeah, when you take a test in the Demon, we are mimicking anything that's reasonable to mimic.
Now, there's no point in taking the official test. You're wasting one of your limited attempts. You can only take it 3 times officially in one cycle. And sometimes you have to wait for the cycle to reset to take it again. You can take it up to 5 times in 5 cycles, 5 times in 2 cycles. But do not waste that precious attempt at the test if your practice test scores don't indicate that you're ready.
Agreed. Do you think it's possible with consistent and effective study for 3 to 4 months that I could improve to the 170s?
Yes.
100%.
How many people did we have this last year use the LSAT Demon and improve by more than 20 points?
Yeah.
Many. I mean, it's not like guaranteed that you're going to improve 28 points, but we have absolutely seen it. I mean, we had somebody who went from the 130s to 170.
Yeah. What is more realistic? Wait, what is a more realistic test month to shoot for given my current score?
Don't know and don't care, and you don't need to decide.
Just start focusing on what you can do today, and eventually you'll take a practice test and you'll see what score you're at, and you'll just keep studying. And then eventually you'll be like, oh, okay, I can see myself getting to where I want to get in a couple months, and I'll sign up. What are the advantages / disadvantages to withdrawing?
Well, the advantage is you don't use one of your attempts and you don't put a bad score on your record with one of those attempts. I mean, law schools only care about your highest score, so the bad score on your record doesn't really matter, but the wasted attempt really does matter. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, if you're 48 hours before the test and your practice test scores are nowhere close to a number that you would actually apply to law school with, then it's only an advantage to withdraw. There's no disadvantage whatsoever. It doesn't even show up on your record at all. It's just as if you were never registered. I can't think of a disadvantage to withdrawing if you're far away from your goal.
Can schools see a withdrawal and
No.
does it look bad? No, they can't see a withdrawal. They can see a cancellation or an absence.
Yeah. Having cancel, you can cancel in a case of an emergency, but don't like, oh, I'll just go take it and cancel my score. Lots of times people do that, and that's like, it wastes one of the attempts. It shows up as a cancel on your record. Now what happens if you have an actual emergency the next time? Now you're going to have 2 cancels on your record, which starts to look weird. I would just withdrawal. It's like a freebie. I mean, you paid the $200, you don't get that back, but
the only thing I would say there is just don't withdraw immediately. You could wait until the week before.
No, yeah, it's always never withdraw if it's not like less than a week before.
Yeah, because you might end up doing well enough to take it. And so you want to keep that opportunity open. I was just talking to someone the other night in class and they had already withdrawn. And I was like,
why?
Okay,
yeah.
But you can withdraw later and still withdraw. For those of you who are new, let me just clarify really quickly. Withdrawing is something that you do before you take the test. You say, hey, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not going to take this test. And there's no record of it. Canceling is what you do after you've taken the test. You've taken it and now you're like, no, I want to cancel so that no score shows up on my record. But a cancellation will show up on your record. Whereas when you withdraw, there's nothing on your record at all, but you lose the money. That's the downside. Yep. Can schools see a withdrawal and does it look bad? No, we just talked about that. In previous podcasts, I've heard Nathan discuss going into the answer choices, knowing the correct answer. If I'm in a timed practice test, should I review all the answer choices still or just stop at A if I read it and know in my heart it is correct? In your heart, man.
In your heart? You should, yes, still read all 5 answers. Now, you don't have to give those answers great respect. If you predicted the answer, you read A and it's perfect, then just skim B, C, D, and E and make sure that there's not something else that's even more perfect.
It catches your eye and you're like, wait a sec, and then you might have to think twice. But in games, right, you would say you could stop at A.
You can, but
you still like going
well,
through.
How long does it actually take to eliminate those wrong answers? Normally it doesn't take any time at all. Now there are, I can't remember what type of a question it is. Maybe like must be falses or something. Like it can be, sometimes it can be really difficult to disprove the wrong answers.
Yeah.
Right. Like this one, I know for sure must be false. That's got to be the answer. These other 4 answers, then that means that they could be true. The wrong answers could be true, but it can be hard to prove it could be true. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so it's like, sometimes it won't be worth the effort to go through actually disproving them, but I would skim to just see if any of them must be false. And it's like the time that you're going to save is like, you sometimes save 5 seconds.
Sure.
It's not worth taking that shortcut.
Yeah. And sometimes if you do get 2 correct answers, you can realize, especially early on in the game, you can realize that your initial setup had a mistake.
Oh, which happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, this happens to me when I'm teaching classes. Probably happens to you too. You just like love an answer.
It doesn't happen to me, but I understand.
It only happens to me. It never happens to them. But it happens. And, it's like in those cases, I like to think that I would have actually read all 5 answers.
Yeah.
Just to give yourself that backup parachute. Like that first one looks like it's going to work, but let's just take a look at these other answers and make sure.
Sure. Yeah. Totally. Thanks for all your help. Love you guys. Thanks, Frank. Well, thank you, Frank. Thanks for listening.
We love you too, Frank.
Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some hot LSAT or law school admissions news.